New Dimensions by Void King Chapter 7. Mercer led the Federation officers into the meeting room. Already at the table were Isaac and Commander Lamar. Bortus and Lieutenant Malloy were still being checked out by Dr. Finn. Data and Isaac gave each other looks of interest as they each recognized the other as non-organic. Shortly thereafter Tala Kiali entered the room as well. Mercer motioned for everybody to sit down. "Welcome to the Orville," started Captain Mercer. "I think we owe you a debt of thanks for saving the life of two of our officers. You have met Commander Kiali. I would also like to introduce you to Commander Lamar, our Chief Engineering Offices, and Isaac, who represents our Science Section." Commander Riker and Data nodded in acknowledgement. "Captain," started Riker, "we are hoping you can help us understand some discrepancies we have found. We had a recent encounter with the Dyson sphere which collapsed into itself just recently." "Captain, I am unaware of any Dyson sphere that has ever been discovered," interjected Isaac. "That is most peculiar. This close to the sphere's star system, it is almost impossible that it would not have been detected. Additionally, the collapse of the sphere would have created a tremendous gravimetric effect." Data continued to look in Isaac's direction. "May I make a personnel inquiry?" "Not now, Data," said Riker. He had a feeling he knew where this was going. "No, it's okay," said Mercer. "We're trying to be friends here." "Are you a non-organic intelligence?" he asked. "I am from the planet Kalen. We are a race of cybernetic lifeforms. That does mean we are not organic. As a matter of fact, the Kalen race is currently at war with the Planetary Union and the Krill to terminate all life in this galaxy." Riker looked over at Captain Mercer with a shock. "We know nothing about this war, Captain. Are we in danger from these Kalen? And not to be rude, but should Isaac be roaming free?" "I believe you are fine for the moment, Commander. We are at a stalemate with the Kalen right now. I am also not exactly sure how the Kalen would react if they did come across your ship, since it does not meet any Union, or Krill, design standards. As to Isaac, he is the reason we are still alive. Captain, given this information, I would like to ask if we contact Captain Picard and the bridge crew of the Enterprise can be contacted?" asked Riker. Mercer nodded at Tala, who used the panel in front of her to initiate the contact. While she worked on that, the comm system spoke up. Finn to Mercer. "Yes, Doctor," said Ed. "Bortus will be fine. It turns out these phaser weapons have a setting meant to stun which disrupts the neural pathways. For almost anyone else on the Orville, it would have simply rendered them unconscious. Unfortunately, the Mochlin neural system is considerably different. I have stabilized him and he should be okay to return to duty. Ironically, he would have been better off if the phaser had been set to a low kill setting. These Mochlin are tough and unusual beings." That was Dr. Crusher, who had been listening in. "Doctors, why don't you come on up and bring Malloy and Bortus with you? Take 5, suggested Mercer. Riker stood up to stretch his legs. Lieutenant Kiali nodded her head as the bridge of Enterprise came on the view screen. There was the captain, Work, Geordi LaForgue and Worf. Shortly after that, the doors opened and Dr. Finn and Crusher walked in along with Gordon Malloy and Bortus. Following closely was a green gelatinous blob. Riker looked on with surprise when it went up to Commander Lamar and extended a spout with a mouth on the end and said, "Sorry to bother you, Commander. We need to reline power supply 6 on the quantum drive." "Okay. Just make it quick." The green entity moved back through the door with a sense of purpose. Commander Riker took a quick inquisitive look to the chief engineer. "Oh, that's Yaphet. He works for us." Everybody sat back down and Captain Mercer kicked things off. "So any ideas on what's going on?" Data looked at the Union captain. "Captain Mercer, may I ask if the Orville was named for Orville Wright, one of the inventories of the first aircraft on Earth?" Mercer looked a bit bemused and simply answered, "Yes. Captain, Commander, I have a theory. I believe the Orville is not from our universe." "You mean the Orville is from another universe? How did it get here?" asked Riker. "Not them, Commander. Us. I believe when we were pulled into the collapsing Dyson sphere, it opened a rift between our universe and theirs. We would have to run some tests, but I believe there is a 81.76% chance that this has occurred." "Excuse me, Data, I believe the correct odds are 81.78%, that was Isaac." Did you account for the universal drift constant?" asked Data. "I did, Data. Did you analyze subspace differentiation theory?" asked the Kalen. "Of course. However, Deminter's theory would suggest. I am unfamiliar with Deminter, but Kalen operating models have shown. Data, Isaac, let's just call it 81.77% and call it a day, said Ed Mercer. Oh no, Captain. It cannot possibly be 81.77%, both Isaac and Data said in unison. Multi-universal theory aside, that complete disregards known population expansion models, explained Data. Not to mention cultural influence on technical development, continued Isaac. Furthermore, gentlemen, Data and Isaac looked at the view screen and saw Captain Picard with his head in his hand. Let's agree that we have a working theory and move on. Captain, I would suggest that Isaac and Data work together to see what the discrepancies between our universes are. I agree, Captain Picard. Since you seem to be in our universe, can I invite you over here? I would like to reach out the our Admiralty to see how we can help. Picard winced a bit at the idea of contacting admirals. He had had a couple of bad experiences, including one who attempted to start a war with Cardacia and another who brazenly broken a Federation treaty and caused the death of his crew. Still, he was on Captain Mercer's playground. I accept, Captain. We will be over there shortly.